Welcome to the Living a Nordic Life podcast, where we explore a simpler, cosier and more intentional life the Nordic way. I'm Fiona McKenna, your Nordic living guide and founder of Living a Nordic Life, where I share all things Nordic living and show you that a Nordic life is the way to bring intentional calm and healthy habits into your own life, wherever you are in the world. Are you looking for ways to bring simplicity, coziness and calm into your life? Well, let me show you how. Visit the Living a Nordic Life website to explore how I can help you on your journey to simple, healthy and happy calm, the Nordic way. You can subscribe to the podcast right here. And if you want regular inspirational emails sent with love from Norway and straight to your inbox, don't forget to subscribe to the Living a Nordic Life newsletters. And so now let's dive into our episode. Hello and welcome to this episode where we're going to talk about Midsommar. Specifically, how to celebrate Midsommar like a Norwegian. Now let me paint a picture for you. It's the middle of June and we have beautiful long summer days here in the Nordic region. In fact, the days are so long that the sun doesn't set and it doesn't really get dark, even in southern Norway, before about midnight. And then by 3 a.m, it's light again. Everything's green and lush, the weather is warm, not raining very much, maybe occasionally. All the flowers are out, and it's absolutely beautiful. We're all enjoying being outside. And Midsommar, or Sankthans, is celebrated throughout the Nordic region and the Baltic states on the 24th of June, right in the middle of the summer. But the celebrations really start the day before. This is called Sankthans aften, Sankthans Eve. And for us, in the Nordics, this is when the fun really starts. Like I said, Sankthans is right in the middle of the Nordic summer. And it's when the days are at their absolute longest. In the far south of Norway, we can expect only a few hours of darkness each night. And the further north you go, the lighter the nights become until there's only daylight, no darkness at all. But even down here in the south, you can hardly call it dark. You could certainly go out at 1 a.m. and have no trouble at all wandering around. You can see, let's put it that way. It's not darkness. Sankthans is a wonderful incorporation of both Christian festival, it's the birth date of St. John, and ancient pagan rituals, combined together to embrace all cultures, both old and new. Sankthans was thought to be a day of magical properties, and a lot of importance was put on the power of flowers, with many regions using flowers and leaves to decorate their homes and to protect and bless the house. The night before Sankthans, 23rd of June, was a powerful time for the old ways and the way of the witches. It was said that this evening was a great time for witches to gather and celebrate, and even saw some burned at the stake for such celebrations. In my region of Norway, Vestfold, which is about 100 kilometres south of Oslo, Sankthans celebrations are taken much more seriously than in other parts of Norway. We have a boat flotilla on the fjord, a lot of boats, all the boats in fact, bonfires on the beach, and all of our public buildings are closed, which they're not in any other part of Norway. So how can we make the most of this magical day and the evening before and celebrate like a Norwegian? I've got a few fun suggestions for you that you can incorporate into your own celebrations. First of all, you need to start your celebrations on the 23rd of June, the day before Sankthans, Sankthans aften. Be like a true Norwegian, start on Sankthans Eve. This is the evening when the bonfires are lit and the singing and dancing starts. Everything starts in the early evening or late afternoon so that people of all ages can take part, from the very youngest, even the babies, to the very oldest. Children like to make flower garlands and turn them into crowns. And we're lucky enough to have a lot of daisies blooming by Sankthans. And they're the perfect flower for this. Those really big daisies, oxeye daisies we call them. But you can use whatever you have available and let your imagination guide you. Let it be a little bit magical. Embrace the power of the Sankthans blomster. That's the St. Hans flower. Yes, it does have its own special flower. It's the red campion. And it's a hedgerow flower. And it's not really red, it's more of a dark pink. But it grows in proliferation at this time of year. And it's named after St. Hans Blomst, which is fitting because it's at its best in June. Flowers play an important role in many of the festival days in the Nordic region, and none more than at Midsummer. Legend says that if you sleep with 7 different types of flowers under your pillow on St. Hans afton, you'll dream of the one you'll marry. Could try it. What have you got to lose? Spending time with family and friends is really important on this day. For my family, this is a key day to celebrate with our own tradition of getting together. And we all enjoy going to my sister-in-law's to share some grilled food, she always hosts, and make the most of the warm days and the long evening. And everybody comes. We have 4 generations there. It's great. It marks the start of the summer holiday for us. And it's a time when everyone is still at home. The kids have only just broken up from school. And no one's yet gone away on holiday. So it's a perfect time for everybody to get together. Light a bonfire. That's what we do. If you can. We're only allowed to light bonfires on the beach, I have to say, because we're in the middle of fire ban season, which starts on the 15th of April. So there's no bonfires in the forest, because otherwise we'd start a forest fire. But Norwegians have been celebrating St. Hans with bonfires for time immemorial. Keeps those witches away. Fires are lit on the beaches, and people love to gather together and celebrate into the long night, with dancing, singing, and grilling, of course. In fact, the biggest bonfire ever recorded was in 2016 in Ålesund. It measured 47 metres high. That's as tall as the Arc de Triomphe. And believe it or not, it was all built by hand. It's built by a group of young people. I think they're between 16 and 24. And they build the entire structure by hand with no machinery at all. They take everything up to the top to build it. It's incredible. But if you aren't able to light a bonfire, maybe you can light a fire in a fire pit. Or even light some candles. It's that symbolism that counts. Enjoy some Nordic food. Of course, this is a Nordic celebration. Enjoy some Nordic food, and Norwegians love to mark special days with certain foods. And St. Hans is no exception. The food most commonly eaten on this day is rummegrøt. Rummegrøt is a very unusual dish, actually, I have to say, if you've never encountered it. It's unexpected. It's a sour cream porridge, and it's made with milk and flour and an awful lot of very rich sour cream. And the sour cream is cooked so that the fat comes out of it, because it's usually about 35-40% fat. And the fat floats to the top and it's skimmed off, and then it's made into this thick, creamy porridge. The fat's kept to one side, and it looks a little bit like melted butter. When the rummegrøt is finished, as it's served, the fat is poured on, and then it's sprinkled with sugar and cinnamon. And it's served together with a special type of cured meat called fenalår, which is a little bit like prosciutto, but it's made with a leg of lamb. So it's got a very distinctive lamb flavour. And it's a strange combination of flavours with the rummegrøt, which is creamy and sweet, and then you have this savoury cured meat. But it's delicious, and it's really worth having a go at if you can. And if you make too much, you can freeze it. It freezes really well. That's what I usually do. Or you can serve it with spekkemat, which is cured meat. But it shouts summer to anyone in the Nordic region. And it's a delicious and slightly decadent way to make the most of the day. Forget about those calories. And if it doesn't sound like your kind of thing, then why not try a bløtkoker? That is Norway's celebration cake. It's a soft sponge that's filled with cream and usually berries. It's delicious. Or perhaps even a simple prawn smørbrød. Prawn open-faced sandwich. Very Nordic, especially Swedish, I have to say. And my last point is decorate your home with flowers and leaves. Particularly here, we like to decorate on Sankthans with birch branches. They're a kind of symbol of spring starting. It's lovely. And that's how we do it here in Vestfold. Branches off the silver birch trees to decorate our homes. And the flotilla of small boats that sails through the harbour is always decorated with branches and a plethora of wild flowers, like oxeye daisies. Things that are in profusion and not rare. We don't pick anything rare. You need to double check that. But it could be something as simple as dandelions. They're beautiful in their own way if you have a really good look at them. So why not make it a little bit Nordic and bring some midsummer into your own home with a few flowers? Or some small cut branches that remind us that we're in the warmest and most abundant part of the year. And it's a time to stop and celebrate. Before the days start to get shorter again and things start to go the opposite direction. We're right at that point. We've come to the top of the mountain and it's downhill the other way. So if you want to learn a little bit more about Midsommar, then head over to my website and go to the book section. And I have more resources and a lot more detail about Midsommar in the Nordics. And thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next episode. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the Living a Nordic Life newsletters so you can get an email when I release a new episode. It's a quick and easy way to keep up with all things Nordic living. Please visit livinganordiclife.com. You can listen to Living a Nordic Life on lots of podcast apps, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and plenty of others. If you've enjoyed the Living a Nordic Life podcast, why not leave me a rating? So that's the end of Living a Nordic Life for today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.